Hello, boys and girls.
Heyo.
Today we will be discussing movie trailers and the films that followed that ended up being far more disappointing than what we were expecting based on the trailers. So, good trailers, bad disappointing movies. That's going to be our feature presentation, but just to kick things off, give you a little bit of a tease for it. We have the category of best announcement / teaser trailer to a bad movie. And this one is from a film that we've already made fun of on this podcast before, I believe.
We're just doing it off screen too.
We make fun of it regularly in our lives. It is Godzilla 1998. So the Roland Emmerich, Matthew Broderick shitfest that attempted to capitalize on the success of Jurassic Park and the Lost World, along with Roland Emmerich's success with Independence Day, and just destroying major landmarks. In this case, the landmark being just all of New York City. What this trailer did was, and if there's some older viewers watching, they probably remember this, that back in the day when people would when studios would announce a film or with a new trailer, obviously there wasn't like the internet and these things popping up ahead of time where everyone knew what they were getting. They'd be putting out a trailer to something with scenes that weren't even filmed with the intention of being in the film. It was just like its own thing. So this trailer was one set at the, I guess it was the Natural History Museum in New York. You're seeing people in the museum, blah, 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 blah. You got the T-Rex bones and everything like that, just to capitalize again on people's love for the T-Rex post-Jurassic Park. And then out of nowhere, you see Godzilla's foot come through the museum and completely crush the T-Rex. So it's giving you the idea of just how big Godzilla is when his foot alone can absolutely destroy a T-Rex. But do you guys remember this? And do you remember when teasers like Spider-Man would have stuff completely different from like what was in the movie? It was just its own thing to get you pumped up for this film coming out, like typically a year later.
I always hated that. I hate seeing trailers and then going to the movie. I mean, like, where the hell was that scene that I liked in the trailer?
Yeah, it can be annoying when you're like, I really love the vibe and everything that's going on in this like scene, and then like the scene's like completely doesn't jive at all with the movie, and it was just like you're just kind
It's
of
like
tricked
Indiana
into going to see it.
Jones, where they had that one awesome line he has in the trailer, and then they cut it out with a line that he did really, really poorly, and they put that in the release.
That
The
I hate.
The delivery was perfect in the trailer, and then they just like lost that, and they put a really bad one in Crystal Skull. Gotta get your shit together. Do you think they sub out editing for trailers to other companies?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. And in these particular cases, like I think they probably don't even have like I don't think Roland Emmerich might have even directed that trailer. Like it was just somebody else cut. Like Sony had somebody just film a trailer and completely separate from the Godzilla team, and then you end up getting a cooler trailer than the actual movie itself.
Spider-Man 1, 2 with the Twin Towers.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome one.
Is it just Sony that does it?
It does seem to be a Sony thing. In the like 90s, early 2000s.
The Godzilla trailer. Now that you mentioned it, I don't remember what. I definitely saw that in theaters, but I don't know what movie it could have possibly been.
I saw it with Men in Black.
Nice.
Maybe I mean, more than likely, I was probably there.
So it was almost. I guess it was like would have been like 10 months before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Did they drop that spicy Puff Daddy track right after that thing came down, or was that later on?
No,
I think that was probably later on.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
They couldn't sit on that for a full year.
That soundtrack was
or ride the momentum of it for the full year.
That's a big song.
That entire soundtrack was fantastic.
It's the soundtrack to our lives.
Yeah. So I didn't remember this trailer at all. but I watched it before we jumped on. It's a clever trailer. You wonder though how much money they spent making that trailer. I mean, granted, you're just showing a foot, but they had to animate the foot, and then you do see like a tail and like the back end of him as like the people are looking up at the giant hole that was left by Godzilla's foot.
Well, you have to imagine that they went through or were going through at that time principal photography, at least finishing it, and then they were trying to figure out like exactly what Godzilla was going to look like. So,
Or they sub it out and they're like, well, what do you want? What does Godzilla look like? I don't know. It's all CGI. Who gives a shit? Just make a big foot and we'll play around with it later.
Since sorry, you go, Corey.
No, I was gonna say like I didn't watch it over the past couple days, but I wonder, could you tell like was Godzilla like aesthetically the same as he was?
Yeah, he seemed basically. I mean, granted, you're only going off of a foot, but it seemed like the same foot. Like, isn't
I'd recognize that foot anyway.
Don't you see like
that whole movie like sold it around the foot, I guess, to like just the scope of it, but like the posters and stuff are just like the foot too.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Taco Bell commercials too had the foot in it as well.
They were all about the foot because the face of it was kind of disappointing.
It was long and stupid.
Didn't he have like a stubby?
Yeah, look at the foot.
It was goofy looking.
Pay no attention to that face. Look at this foot that we spent 90% of the budget modeling, and then we're like, just make him like a long snake, but just concentrate on the feet.
Because you said that came out like 10 months before the movie.
Yeah. Yep.
So
like July.
Yeah, there's 0% chance they had finished any sort of 3D rendering.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
They probably had like a clay sculpture or something, and Roland Emmerich probably destroyed it 3 or 4 times. I imagine like him walking around filming stuff, just smacking papers out of people's hands and lighting scripts on fire because he just likes destroying shit.
Did the teaser, Doug, since you just watched it, did it include the tagline at the end? I don't remember. The tagline being "size does matter."
That was the tagline?
That was like their big tagline for that movie, which is insane that they thought that was a good, funny tagline for
I forgot.
Essentially a family film.
For the time, I guess.
The Taco Bell tagline was better, which was "Here, lizard, lizard, lizard." Oh, I can't do it again.
Ooh, JP going into alt view mode.
Yeah, I'm going into alt view mode right now. Love it.
This is like Blair Witch mode.
I'm just gonna fucking do this.
But yeah, we'll get back to trailers later on in the show. But we wanted to just run through a quick little separate type of trailer before we get to the rest of them, which are all essentially full-length trailers. All right, welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 32. You're here with Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph. Thanks as always for joining us. Before we get to our main topic for today, let's just run through some news and what we watched over this past week. All right, so yesterday was the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 55. We did not get as many trailers or commercials for films as we usually get. Just due to the fact that release schedules have been absolutely a mess for the past year. But we did get some footage. So we're going to run through the movies real quick, provide some quick thoughts. The biggest one was, in my opinion, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, mostly due to the fact that we got another full-length trailer for the TV show on Disney Plus, simultaneously with the 30-second commercial that aired. So we can talk about, I guess we'll talk about the full-length trailer. That'd be more appropriate. What did you guys think from this latest look?
Looks like a fun action movie.
Yeah. I mean, it looks on brand for what we've seen, from the MCU up until this point. But I know, like, we've talked about this before. Now, since WandaVision has started, like, it's almost jarring. Like, it's hard to kind of get excited, for like just like the regular like type of like Winter Soldier, type of espionage film. It looks fantastic. I think it's going to be a good ride, but like it definitely took a little bit of its thunder for sure. The action looks amazing. I thought it was pretty cool that they started to like feed into the relationship of like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Did you think though that them being in therapy was corny? Because I thought it was corny.
Yeah, no, yeah, the end of the trailer was like that was super corny, especially. But yeah, I thought it was a little, almost like a little too hammy. But maybe in the show, maybe they'll like, maybe in that context, it'll be a little bit better. It'll make sense. But it definitely seemed a little too hammy for me.
It seems like there might be a common thread of just some weird bullshit daytime TV type stuff in these Marvel shows, because they're doing it kind of with WandaVision a little bit,
That would
where
make
it's like
sense.
you get
Yeah.
really good stuff, and then you get this weird like ABC budget shitty TV show quality.
Yeah,
And then
yeah. Because
yeah,
I mean,
the
you're not getting a
therapy
full
scene.
budget like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that might be a common theme going through a lot of these Marvel TV shows. I hope not, but it seems so for like the first two of them, that there might be some really off stuff.
Which
off
is weird
quality.
because Mandalorian looked good, I thought,
Yeah.
like all around. So it's weird that some of these were like you said, like part of it doesn't look movie quality. It looks like cheaper.
Maybe it's just something within Marvel. Maybe it's something they wanted to try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Maybe
they're honing something for like another Agents of Shield type television show, testing stuff out with these ones that they know will hit just because of the names.
Yeah. What I was hoping we were going to get more of was more footage of the villains. So I want to see more of Daniel Bruhl as returning as Zemo, and Wyatt Russell, I believe, is a villain as well. I
Yeah.
don't even know if we saw him in the trailer.
I don't think we did.
Didn't seem like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
the glimpse that we saw of Zemo, like I know I'm excited because he's finally putting on the mask, and like hopefully he gets a little bit more like breathing room as a character over this, what is it, 10 episodes, 9 episodes?
we don't know.
We don't know.
I think they announced it shortly before the
So
show's air.
hopefully it's like 10 episodes. I mean, and they'll be able to flesh out, because he's a really interesting character, and like he was cool in the movie, but I mean, he didn't really get a lot of screen time because there was a lot of other things going on. So
What's
hopefully
his superpower? Lying?
he doesn't really have a
Just
superpower.
tricking people into fighting each other.
He doesn't really
he's
have a
got
superpower.
this cool mask that he wears. That's his power.
Nice.
The mask I don't understand, because in the comics, like, it was concealing his identity. Clearly, like, people know who he is at this point.
And there are no secret identities in the Marvel universe.
Not anymore.
Peter was the last.
I think he was the only one that tried. Iron Man didn't even get through a movie.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Going back to Zemo in the trailer though, like I don't know, they haven't done anything to show me like to get excited about Zemo. Like I haven't seen.
But it's been so
And
long since we've seen him. That's also why. Like, think about how long it's been. It's been years. What was that, Civil War? We saw him?
It was Civil War, yeah.
It's a long time ago. What, 4 years ago at this point? 3 years ago?
5 years.
5?
I just have him like say or do something that's like, oh shit, he's like a serious villain. Let me care. Show me why I care about this show.
He had
I
the
don't know.
mask, Doug.
That's all you need.
But let me
I guess we'll get that closer to March, I guess.
But let me say one thing. Like, look at WandaVision. Everyone, all of us included, are all over WandaVision. Before the show started, they really didn't. The trailers were cool, but no, you really didn't get that excited from those trailers. So hopefully, they have something up their sleeves.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
could be a pile.
I think we were all
of
more
poop, too, and everyone's
intrigued
gonna watch
by
it.
WandaVision
Well, more
Based on-
intrigued in comparison, yes, but
just because it was so different looking. This just looks like a Phase 1 or 2 Marvel movie.
But I think this will do more in terms of extending the story for the universe than something like WandaVision would.
hopefully,
Yeah,
WandaVision
we-
seems to
we'll
be a little
see.
self-contained at this point, and Falcon Winter Soldier probably has a lot more to do with expanding, because the shield's on the line at that point, it seems like. So I think this will have bigger ramifications going forward with the story, but yeah, it probably won't nearly be as innovative. It'll be like a Marvel movie in TV form. But
And we'll get more to the ramifications of WandaVision when we get to our recap of episodes 2 and 3 later today. But next up, we've got our first look footage of the new M. Night Shyamalan film, Old, which comes out this summer, I believe in July. This is the only one where we got completely first look footage. Everything else kind of was spliced from previous trailers or just slightly new footage. But this one, we got the concept laid out and everything like that. And coincidentally, it does look very similar to plot point of this season of WandaVision, in the fact that these characters are rapidly aging. Apparently, they go to an island on vacation. There's something with this island, mystical-ish, that ages people up real quick. So you got a family on the island. Suddenly, kids are teenagers, and the adults are looking pretty fucking fragile and old by the end of what we get out of that 30 seconds. But what do you guys think? You on board for new M. Night?
no, no, I don't think I'm ever going to be on board for new M. Night ever again. But if it, I did it with Split. If it gets good reviews, I'll watch it. But fool me once, fool me 6 cents times. Fuck you, M. Night Shyamalan. I'm not watching your movies anymore.
It looks weird. It looks super weird.
Which is on
I don't.
brand.
I guess the concept is like kind of weird that you're just like on an island and everyone's getting old, and your little daughter that you brought with you is like giving birth, or look like.
Yeah.
Which, like, how did that happen?
Well done.
They had
Woman
like
loves
they
a
got
woman.
older. Yeah, they got older and had sex, and then I don't know.
In one weekend.
Yeah,
I
that'd be weird.
I thought of Lost just because the island. Immediately during the
They
trailer, I
gotta
was
go
just like,
back.
Yeah, I mean,
Lost.
mystical shit on islands. The first thing you think of is Lost.
Yeah, I mean I like that. It's another original movie from him that no one really knows what it's about. You're gonna kind of have to go in blind, to the film and see what the mystery is, and hopefully that it ends up being. There's gonna be a twist. There's always twists in M. Night Shyamalan
What?
movies.
Twists?
That's his shtick.
M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Some of them hit, some of them don't. Hopefully this one hits.
Yeah, well, we'll find out soon enough.
I just like don't know what the twist could be for like an island where everyone's getting old.
Oh, it was water that killed him the whole time. That's the one.
It's a sequel to the
Just
The
like
Happening.
Maybe water is what heals them and makes them younger in this one.
It's always water.
And it just happens to be right next to their island. So that would be convenient.
There you go. Just got to go in the water.
All right. Then the next two came out basically the same week that a new trailer dropped for their respective films. So we'll run through these two. Coming to America, the Eddie Murphy Arsenio Hall sequel. We got, I don't know how much you got. Did you guys see the full trailer or just like the Super Bowl spot?
I
I,
didn't either.
I think I might have just seen the Super Bowl spot because I saw it during the Super Bowl, so I imagine.
Okay.
That was
Well,
all.
I
basically,
saw a second trailer that came out like a week ago.
yeah, that one. That's the one.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
saw that.
I saw that too. Then
Yeah, so it really looks like this one isn't set as much in America as his home country, which we didn't really get that impression from the teaser trailer. Do you think that's a good idea? Kind of mixing it up so it's not the exact same thing all over again?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I guess we'll have to see. But I think like to do the same jokes over and over again. I mean, obviously there's going to be repeats of jokes.
And they downgraded to a PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the biggest red flag for me is PG-13. It didn't have a whole lot of promise of being good before that, and sure shit doesn't have much promise of being good after that. But
Yeah, I mean, my personal expectations are pretty low. Like I'm excited for the movie, but they're relatively low. But hopefully it ends up being, it ends up being good.
Yeah. That's all we can hope for. But that comes out March 5th, along with the following film, Raya and the Last Dragon. It's Disney's new animated movie. Did you guys get to check out the trailer for this one?
Is it another one that came out like a week ago?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then I saw it.
Yeah,
What
I saw
did
the one that came out a week ago too.
what did you guys think of it?
It looks like a Disney movie. I don't find myself looking forward
To Disney movies as much as like
to Disney is like a
Pixar.
Pixar movie. It looks kind of cool though. She's like younger, I think, in the beginning, and then she's older, and she's looking for
it
dragon
definitely
something or
looks
other.
like for a female-led Disney movie, they're trying to make it as like appealing to like all demographics as possible. Like it's definitely less Frozen and more Mulan. That's what I would say. That's the vibe I
Animated Mulan, not
Yeah,
live
animated
action.
Mulan.
Good Mulan, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the vibe I got from this.
Yeah, it didn't look bad. I thought it looked visually. It looked like nice.
Mm.
Looked like I'd watch it. I just don't know that I would pay the $20 or whatever it is for the early
Yeah,
access.
your deal. Yeah, it's like 30 for the early access or seeing it in
Jesus.
theaters versus coming to America where you can watch it for free if you have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and we're just gonna be so.
Watching Amazon Prime. I don't think I've ever watched a movie on Amazon Prime.
Well, on March 5th, you can do it for the first time.
I probably won't.
Wait, no, you watched The Vast of Night.
I did. Wow,
There you go.
that was like a whole many months ago.
See, we pay attention to what each other
Like a
says
whole
on this
different
program.
person now.
Quarantine's aged you. Now you're losing your memory.
That's
feel
not
that.
quarantine.
All right, and then the last two, we got a little bit of new footage, nothing too crazy, but the first one's pretty funny in the fact that we got a Super Bowl spot for it last year, and we got another one this year. So Fast and Furious, supposedly coming out Memorial Day weekend. I didn't notice too much new footage at all.
It's a new shot of Han in it.
Okay.
The barbecue.
What's the deal with that? Is it a magnet that's like pulling the cars?
The car goes through a building.
Because I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think I saw. I don't think I saw the trailer from last year because I haven't seen up
Fucking
until
that trailer was like 4 minutes long.
yeah.
Yeah,
But,
and
like-
it sucked until the very end too.
What the hell is that? Did they show that before? It's like a magnet that like pulls the
No,
cars
that was
like.
new.
Yeah, Ludacris talks about it in the trailer,
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
or Tyrese, one of them does.
Well, it's Ludacris because Ludacris is
He's
suddenly a
the-
genius from Too Fast to
Yeah.
now.
He's like this universe's Q.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. His genius extended to breaking into a bridge and raising it in Too Fast, Too Furious, and then he became a genius.
It's impressive. It's quite the arc.
They're all
There's
superheroes.
not really explaining it at all with how he got from one to the other.
Glad he's in the movies though, because I love
Yeah.
Luda.
But yeah, this trailer really did not focus on story at all. It was just showing cool action scenes.
I imagine
So-
we'll get another trailer. If it actually.
If
comes
it's coming
in
out
May.
in May, yeah, we should get another trailer probably in about a month. That sounds right. And lastly, we have the Bob Odenkirk, John Wick like film, Nobody, where Saul Goodman is beating the shit out of people and good with I guess all types of guns.
Yeah.
We've mentioned this one before, but are you guys
This is
remotely
bizarre.
intrigued by this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was-
Looks fun.
I didn't have a chance to go back and rewind it, and I watched it like right before we came on here. But is Christopher Lloyd in that movie?
Yes, he is. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yep. It looks.
I was like,
Christopher
I
Lloyd
think
is
that's
in it.
Christopher Lloyd. What is he doing there? Do you know?
acting, Doug. He's got his,
Yeah, no,
He's got a
that's
career.
true. He's acting.
It's
Uh,
Has he been in anything in like the last 10 years?
don't
I
think
haven't
so.
seen him in a long time.
JP, he cherry picks his roles. This was one that he needed to do.
Yo, I don't
Are
think
we
it's
sure this
cherry
isn't-
picking when you don't choose anything for 10 years.
All he does is go to Back to the Future like cons.
I was just about to say, are we sure this isn't a Back to the Future 4?
It's a stealth Back to the Future or
Maybe.
4.
It's like a split.
Bob Odenkirk is playing
We're gonna
Marty.
find out at the end of the movie.
He's playing Marty like however many years later.
It's a multiverse Back to the Future to tie into the Marvel universe.
We'll find out the first week of April when it comes out. But
Is that only in theaters? Or
that one
streaming?
is. Thank you for asking. That one is only in theaters.
Wow.
So that's really like the
It's a
only
bold
in theaters
strategy,
movie
Cotton.
before, I guess, May. I probably will have that sort of VOD within 3 weeks or whatever.
Swinging for
But,
the fences.
Who's putting this out?
I believe it's Lionsgate. I'm not 100% sure though. I'm looking it up right now just to double check. Yeah, nobody starring Christopher Lloyd and RZA.
Ooh,
Cast.
RZA. Okay.
They got everyone in this film. Yes, it is. No, this is Universal, so yes, it will definitely be out on
3
VOD by the end of May or by the end of April. But still,
That's good.
eventually a movie has to break out, so maybe it'll be this one.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
Probably not.
Yeah. It'll probably be Black Widow the first weekend of May.
Probably. As long as they keep it there.
Yeah, and it doesn't come out on Disney Plus simultaneously.
Yeah.
But since we are talking release dates, let's just jump into 4 updates for everyone. A lot of them are basically HBO Max updates. Officially now, we have Justice League, the 4-hour movie, not the 4-hour 4-part 4-hour miniseries.
Is it officially a 4-hour movie?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Does it have an intermission?
Yeah, right. We have the pause button nowadays. since we
Yeah, but
watch
I want the
everything at home.
screen. I want to know when I'm allowed to
Yeah.
pause it and go.
Yeah, I wanted to have a countdown with 1
Yeah,
minute.
like Hamilton.
So,
like
yeah, you
the
beat the clock.
Because I don't want Zack Snyder to come out and be like, well, if you paused it at the wrong spot, fuck you, you watched my movie wrong. Now I'm going to have to recut it.
That's a Christopher Nolan thing more than a Zack Snyder thing.
He's crazy now, though.
And we do know it's rated R. That is official as well. Not the biggest surprise since Batman vs. Superman had like an R-rated cut on Blu-ray DVD. But it will be interesting to see what sort of stuff they do with this R rating. I believe it's mostly violence and
probably
apparently
gonna be blood.
Do
and
you think someone's gonna say
Batman.
fuck?
I think I heard Batman will say fuck.
Nice.
Or Bruce Wayne will say fuck.
Oh. Or Ben Affleck will say fuck.
Yeah, it has Ben Affleck. But yeah, we'll all be watching that in mid-March and quickly let you know our thoughts on this new cut. But yeah, because of this announcement that it's coming out March 18th, they did push back Godzilla vs. Kong just 1 week to March 31st. So no big difference between when it was going to come out and when it is now. And again, Justice League solely on HBO Max, Godzilla vs. Kong both in theaters and on HBO Max on a Wednesday now instead of a Friday. Next up from Warner Brothers, we've got Those Who Wish Me Dead coming out May 14th on HBO Max and in theaters. Taylor Sheridan directed it. He's the director of Wind River, Hell or High Water. He wrote those two, wrote the Sicario movies, does that Yellowstone TV show that seems to be getting a lot of praise on Paramount Network, I believe it is. But it's another Western from him. Angelina Jolie stars in it. It's described as a female-driven neo-Western set against a wildfire in the Montana wilderness. A teenage murder witness finds himself pursued by twin assassins in the Montana wilderness, with a survival expert tasked with protecting him and a forest fire threatening to consume them all. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith.
Westerns are good.
Yeah, Westerns are always a nice thing to see in this day and age. I've got a ton of faith in Taylor Sheridan from the films he's been involved in at this point. Not the biggest Angelina Jolie fan, but she does
Good
have
and Wanted.
Yeah, she does have some good
Kind of the same
some
deal.
like pretty cool genre type performances in the past. So Hopefully we'll get something like that this time. But we'll probably get a trailer for it in the next month or so, and we'll cover it more then. Next up is Malignant. This is a James Wan horror film. It's coming out September 10th on HBO Max and in theaters. Just our last episode, I believe, we talked about how horror movies were kind of getting spaced out every single month, basically from June to October. But this one is coming out only a week before A Quiet Place Part 2. So much for that. We don't know anything really about this movie, just that James Wan is directing it. It's an original one that he wrote. So it should be interesting. Corey, you just recently watched one of his horror films, so
Yeah,
I know you're a big
his
fan.
older stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for this one to come out sooner than September, but they're just running out of space this year. I mean, all the spots are kind of filling up at this point, so it's okay. I mean,
Yeah, and you're gonna continue seeing movies get pushed from like May and June to later in the year or next year. I believe Universal just pushed back their Owen Wilson, Jennifer Lopez comedy again.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know, not anything that we're gonna see, but was supposed to come out in May. Now it's coming out in 2022. That was just announced today. Marry Me.
Just release every movie on the same day, you cowards. We'll watch them all.
Yeah, I mean they're going to need to fill up the multiplex. So give us 12 new movies and just drop them right in the theater at the same time.
Show up with your AMC pass and just bankrupt the sons of bitches again.
I think this is a result of not having enough spots. I mean, it's possible they could pull it back and release it sometime during the summer. Who knows? But I just think, like, you know, at this point they can't just sit and wait. They have to give it a date and, you know, kind of stick to that date for the foreseeable future and, you know, kind of see what happens in a few months. But you know, I think that's a fine date, but it does suck that it's a week before Quiet Place Part 2, but hopefully it'll be
strange date to pick, but
yeah. Wonder when we'll see a trailer.
I like it.
I guess they're also probably not too dependent on what it makes in theaters, just because the whole HBO Max thing.
From what I understand, I don't think it was a very big film. I think I don't think it cost a lot of money.
Names in it.
Yeah, I think it was
the cast. I didn't really know anyone.
Yeah, I think it was very much kind of something that he wanted to do for a long time, and you know, it didn't really cost a lot of
something
money.
to get his horror juices flowing in between the two Aquaman movies.
Yeah,
horror juices.
I think so. So it could be
get the blood flowing, blood pumping.
I'm hoping just for a very original horror movie from him. So we'll see.
Yeah. And lastly, also coming out in September, 1 week after Malignant, the adaptation of Dear Evan Hansen, the Broadway play. Has anyone on this seen it?
I've heard of it.
No,
but I haven't seen it.
I've asked several times what the fuck it's about to my wife. And,
well, I will tell you what it's about. I pulled the quick synopsis off Wikipedia. It's about a high school student with social anxiety disorder. He takes advantage of the suicide of a classmate for his own emotional gains after accidentally letting a letter he wrote to himself be taken by the classmate, whose family mistakes it for being written by their son to Evan. I don't know how this became a popular musical with that.
I thought he
synopsis.
12
this was on Broadway.
The musical.
Yeah, it was like a fucking smash.
Yeah, people fucking love this thing.
For accidentally letting a letter. I'm still trying to follow the story.
I think they performed songs at the Thanksgiving Day parade too.
Really?
Several years ago.
Yeah, they probably did. I mean, that poster was of the cast or whatever was so popular. Like you'd see that everywhere, commercials on TV. But Ben Platt, who played the main character in the Broadway show, is playing his character again in this movie. Although he's supposed to be in high school and he's being played by a 27-year-old at this point.
Yeah, so they did it in American Pie.
Yeah, it's gonna look like fucking Grease or something, just old ass people playing high schoolers.
It works though.
Yeah, but it's got a solid cast along with Ben Platt. I believe it's Caitlin Dever is the female lead from Booksmart. I think Amy Adams or Julianne Moore, or both of them, are in it as well. But it'll be a first look for all of us since none of us have seen it. And hopefully it lives up to the expectations that we've heard from others who have actually seen it. And yes, Amy Adams and Julianne Moore are in it.
Nice. Sounds like a wild ride.
It does. I can only imagine how intense it's going to be. Yeah, there's just lots of sarcasm dripping from both JP and I there.
I can't wait to watch it alongside the Owen Wilson and
Jennifer
whoever the
Lopez.
fuck- Jennifer Lopez comedy. Excited.
Doug, were you able to decipher what the movie was about based on?
I just like don't. I guess I don't really understand. Like he wrote a letter to himself, but then they thought it was written by the kid that committed suicide. Like what? I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't write.
It's kind of like a
letters.
weird. Like was it a diary? I don't know. I'm gonna stop asking questions. I'm sure.
How's it end?
You'll figure it out eventually.
It's actually a horror movie musical.
There you go.
Sounds
If
pretty
you say so, Corey.
horrible.
All right, and then lastly, since it is award season, the Golden Globes and Screen Actor Guild nominees were announced this week, both award shows. You can find the nominees yourselves at goldenglobes.com and sagawards.org. We're going to talk more about them, our thoughts, or more around the time that they are giving out the actual awards themselves on February 28th for the Golden Globes and April 4th for the SAG Awards. But yeah, I think Oscar nominees should be out in the next month or so. And when that comes out, we'll cover that like right away. Yeah, that's it for news this week. So let's just jump right into what we watch. Corey?
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole a little bit, and I on HBO Max I watched Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds, the remake from I think it was 2005 or 2006. It was a long time ago. So I never actually saw this when it first came out. I never even saw the original. So I checked this out, and it was actually really entertaining for the most part. Ryan Reynolds played a very good, like, I don't want to give away the film, but he was more or less like an evil character, very troubled stepfather. And the house they bought the house from, the original owners of, the house from the Amityville murders. So it's based on those true events, the Lutz family. And he basically loses his mind while he's in the house, and, the house tries to make him, murder his family. So the film, it's a very straightforward horror movie, but I thought that it held up very well from just a thematic point, and Ryan Reynolds was surprisingly really good, and I was shocked that man doesn't age.
No,
He does not age.
he does
This
not.
movie, I'm looking it up right now. Okay.
He found the Canadian fountain of youth.
This
He
movie
must
came
have.
out in 2005, and he does not look any different. He doesn't look any different. But he did a great job. A very, very young Chloe Grace Moretz was in it, and she was really good.
Moretz.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
It's a new variation for Chloe.
Moretz.
There you go, Moretz.
Whatever.
Or Mortez.
Mortez.
If we're feeling
This
crazy.
podcast is brutal if you get like an actor or actress's last name pronunciation off.
Yeah, I think there's a Chloe Grace Moretz bingo somewhere that we can get playing.
This one's an inside joke though.
This
We
was
wouldn't have pounced on Corey if it wasn't for that.
she wasn't really in the movie very much. Like she was pretty young. She was probably like 9 maybe. Uh, the movie as a whole was just your standard fare like spook fest, but it was definitely enjoyable. And I don't know why I never saw it originally.
I saw this in theaters.
Yeah.
Did you read my review of it in the Wayne Hills newspaper back in senior year of high school?
I most definitely did.
It's funny. It's funny because when I found this movie on HBO Max, I was trying to think about who told me this movie was really good, and it was definitely you, Murph.
It was Murph. Yeah, I watched it because Murph recommended it.
I don't wait. When? How long ago?
I don't
Years
remember
ago.
Read it in
I don't
the
remember
newspaper.
the article. I don't remember the article, but I remember
Back in 2005, because I don't remember talking about it ever since.
I specifically remember you saying how awesome of a movie it was. Like it was just like a good horror movie.
I don't think I gave that good a review on Letterboxd.
I mean, it's
It's
if
not good.
It's not. I mean, if I gave it a review, I'd probably give it like maybe 2.5 or 3 stars.
I think I gave it 2.5 or 3 stars.
But
Probably 2.5.
there was nothing wrong with it. It was good. It was like it achieved exactly what it was meant to do. The only thing is I didn't really have any basis on the original. I don't know if the original is better or not. Which the original I think has Josh Brolin in it, which I didn't know either. But I'll definitely watch that soon, and I'll compare and see which one is better. Which one I like.
Two
better.
scenes in this movie that stand out to me still. One of them still fucking haunts the shit out of me. One of them is the blood shower scene, which I was like,
Yeah.
sitting in theaters, like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
Yeah.
And then there's the one scene where they're like, I remember this. They're getting busy, and he looks over like his wife's shoulder, and there's just like a fucking girl hanging there, or some shit. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't in there. But I remember that.
There were some really good good jump scares in this movie that I was
like the creepy preacher man.
Well, that one, and then there was one where Ryan Reynolds was like looking at himself. I don't remember the exact situation, but he was looking at himself in like a bathroom mirror, and just the way that they did it, you as the audience member weren't really expecting someone to jump out. Like the music wasn't ominous or anything, and it just caught me on edge so bad, and I jumped off the couch. Jumped completely off the couch. So
JP, we didn't see it together, did we?
I think we did. I was actually just thinking that. I think that was like a double date type of thing.
Okay. And do you remember there were girls that were being so obnoxious on like their phones and like talking?
I feel like that was every movie we went to in 2005.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't
like described like a lot of movies with annoying people.
I wasn't at that point. I wasn't yet like self-confident enough to just tell someone to go fuck themselves and like shut up. So
give it a couple years.
Yeah, it was basically like it was like 2 years later, and I'd be like, "Fuck you, kids! Stop talking."
Get your goddamn kids out of my movie theater.
I had to be like out of high school to do that.
The movie did remind me of Conjuring 1, like just because like the family dynamic. So that kind of took away a little bit from that. Because immediately
Isn't it the exact same story? Isn't Conjuring 1
not the exact same? No.
Oh, it's the same con artists though that dealt with
the same people.
Yeah, it's the con artist. Yeah.
And they reference the Amityville horror at the end of it. And actually the prologue of Conjuring 2 is the Amityville horror.
Gotcha.
Conjuring definitely did it better, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
All right, Doug, let's hear about Ted Lasso, my good friend.
So I finally got around to watching Ted Lasso now that I have Apple TV.
Plus.
And is it called Apple Plus?
Apple TV Plus. You gotta have a plus. You gotta have a plus at the end of your streaming platform.
Apple TV Plus Max.
I didn't realize there was a plus involved. The Apple TV Plus, by the way, has like the picture quality is so good compared to shitty HBO Max. Maybe HBO Max Plus will get the better streaming quality.
Yeah.
But Ted Lasso's good. Actually, really good. Probably one of my favorite shows I watched this year. It's like Jason Sudeikis's like character that like kept popping up in the commercials? Ted Lasso?
Yeah, he was on some NBC Premier League pre-game or
Wait, this is a TV
stuff.
show based on a commercial?
It's based on like
Yeah.
it's based on an NBC Sports like character from like the beginning of the 2010s.
Which is insane to me.
Yeah. Apparently they changed the character up like significantly from what he was in like in that. He was like more of a bumbling idiot in that. He's just like the most like the nicest human being in the world.
Yeah.
It's the
it's
most
kind of
positive
like
person in the world.
So the story's basically you got this like Southern American football coach, like American football, and this woman whose husband owns a soccer team, whose husband happens to also be Giles from Buffy, which I didn't realize until Murph told me. He's going through a bitter divorce with his wife, and so his wife brings this guy over, Ted Lasso from America, to coach their premier soccer team in the UK. Basically in the hopes that the team will just like crash and burn, just to like kind of as like an FU to her husband or her ex-husband. So it's kind of an interesting plot. It makes sense. Like, why else would someone bring this like American football guy to coach a premier like soccer team
who doesn't know like anything at all about soccer?
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about soccer. So but I think probably the charming aspect of it is, as Murph said, he's just like a very well-intentioned human being and just like a genuinely good guy. And so people can constantly give him shit when he first gets there, but he's just like so positive that like it's just he basically like creates his own like gravitational pull or like people just like they can't help like eventually getting like just swayed by the positivity of
No matter how
Ted
much
Lasso.
they like want to hate him.
Yeah, just because he's such a good guy. I thought the first couple of episodes, I was like, I don't know that they're gonna like have enough material for a full season of this. Because the plot for me didn't really get going until like I would say like episode 3 or 4. And I was like, all right, like they can do like a legit plot. The characters, it was more than just like everyone hating on this guy. He was actually like there was things going on with like Ted Lasso's marriage and his kids, and there was like a lot more depth to it, I thought, as the show went on. But it's a good show. It's really funny. Characters are all great. I learned a lot about soccer, even though there's not a lot of soccer in the actual game. I learned how soccer in the UK works, so that was cool. But definitely recommend it. I know Murph, you've seen Ted Lasso as well, and I think you also enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, no, it was a fun watch. Only 10 episodes. You can half an hour ones. You can watch it really quickly. As a solid supporting cast, Juno Temple is in it. She's basically playing like I don't know, what do they call it? Page 2 models, like in England, who's dating one of the soccer players. She's really funny on it though. It really lets her show off like her comedic range and lets her use her natural British accent. But
She's British?
Yeah.
Hey, that's crazy.
Yeah, and she like talks very fucking British on this show.
Cockney accent or something?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, and it actually deals I learned more about soccer or football more from this show than like previously. Like Doug and I were talking about how like we didn't know about like how teams would get like kicked down like a league if their records.
Relegation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know relegation was a thing, and
relegation plays a big part in the show towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that's one of the cooler things in soccer is relegation is fantastic.
I was trying to
something
like
to play for.
conceptualize like how that would work in like American football.
Oh my god, it would not.
Like the bottom like 2 or 3 teams are just like, bye. It would be the same teams all the time. I don't know if that's how it is over there too, but it'd be like
Well,
For
there's
the
more,
most part.
there's more teams.
Well, yeah, there's a couple different levels of playing soccer in British Premier League. But yeah, I don't think it would work for football here because you'd need to have a lot of quality players. And it's just not quite there. I'm actually
Yeah.
surprised they don't do it for MLS, for American soccer. There's a lot of people that talk about that, but there's still is not that many feeder leagues that you could have to promote and relegate. But yeah, that's one of the cooler things about Premier League soccer is the relegation.
Yeah, it definitely creates like real stakes because it's like you don't just like, oh shoot, we lost, like guess we'll get them next year. It's like, nope, you're like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, then
So-
you got something to play for the next season to get back to it.
Yeah, and it deals with like players being on loan too, which is something I wasn't too familiar about either.
Yeah, you essentially get bought and sold,
yeah,
which
it's
is
wild.
kind of crazy. Yeah.
Like mid-season, and then like it's pretty crazy.
And they'll ship you off to like some crazy country that you get sent to like Bratislava to play for a frightening team.
But JP, since you're a big soccer fan, I would definitely recommend you checking this out. I know you're not a Jason Sudeikis fan, but he is very different from the usual Jason Sudeikis type role.
That's good. I think enough time has passed where I don't think I've seen Jason Sudeikis in something in a while, so maybe I'm
not a big fan of him either.
Again. I liked him. It's just,
I think
I
you'll
would
like
like
him.
Sudeikis.
Yeah, I've always liked him as well, but like again, based on how this character is, like he's gonna suck you in because of just how nice a guy he is.
I'll have to see if I can get Apple TV Plus Prime Max at some point. My wife might have it, but she got one of them iPhones, so who knows?
She can probably get like a free year trial.
Yeah, I'll see about checking that out.
All right. But how about you run into your pick?
Yeah, I've been sleeping pretty well lately, so I decided to switch that up and have some nightmares. And we checked out the Night Stalker documentary on Netflix. In the beginning, I felt okay because they start talking about all the crimes that he tried to commit that he didn't go through with. So I was like, oh, he hasn't done anything. This guy is famous for doing nothing. And then it gets into the horrible, grisly murders of him breaking into people's houses and killing them in the night. So yeah, I didn't sleep for a while the night that I watched it. I heard all manner of banging in my house, so up all night watching that. But it's a really good documentary. I think it's about 8 episodes, and it goes into a lot of the detail of the 2 officers that eventually, spoiler alert, he gets caught because I mean you can look this up. It happened in the 80s. It's just a really crazy case that had such little evidence, and they managed to piece it all together and eventually find the guy. And wow. It was a really good watch, despite scaring the absolute shit out of me because it's a little too real. But if you like informative murder porn or fucking real true crime stuff, it's definitely worth the watch. It was trending on Netflix for quite a while, and it was a nice little thing. If you like that kind of stuff, but if you get easily scared like me, you probably won't sleep for a couple days.
We can always count on you for like the new random obscure horror, or not horror, but like murder type shows and movies.
Yeah, it's
for someone who you would think would not like that.
My wife really does.
You're all
so that's how I get introduced to it. It's definitely not something I would seek out on my own.
There you go.
Yeah, that's all I got. It's it's not entertaining in terms of being like a production, but it's a very good documentary.
All right, then I will get to my pick, and then we'll get into the little things and WandaVision. So I went with a really fucking random TV show. Over the past few weeks.
I'm very proud of you, Murph.
It was all because I heard that John Hamm almost played the main character on the show.
Isn't it
So
about
Really?
children?
What?
it's not. It's yeah, he almost played Sandy Cohen.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's not as it's all right. It's the show is the OC. So this was fucking really popular back when we were in high school. I never watched it back then.
It's a great show.
Corey, I guess you watched a bunch of it back then.
First 2 seasons I've watched.
Yeah, but like it's fucking super soap opera. So I also like had some residual, wanted some more soap after Cobra Kai season 3 ended. More of a high school show. So I was like, all right, this one. Some people swear by this, like legit TV critics swear by a couple of the seasons of
Really
this
good.
show. And it's different than I expected. Like it follows the parents a lot, like grandparents. And unlike a lot of teen shows, like the main teens are like the guys and like their friendship, versus just it obviously has the female characters as well, but they're not nearly as important to the overall theme and story of the show. Basically, it's the wrong kid on the wrong side of the tracks gets adopted by this rich family in Orange County. And then it just deals with all the relationships and craziness that goes on. But I mean, this took place again when we were in high school, so like all the music in it is the shit I liked listening to like back in the day, for the most part. And then it also had they play a lot of video games. For some reason, they're always playing Dynasty Warriors.
Weird.
That's a weird choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The game was like not great.
Yeah, every time in season 1, every time it shows them playing PS2, they're always playing Dynasty Warriors. Eventually, it mixes it up and gets some sports games in there, like Tony Hawk and stuff like that. But yeah, the show's a lot different than I expected. Like, I don't know how shows used to do like 27-hour-long episodes a season. You can see how quickly they run out of ideas and they're just treading water and starting new arcs. It's similar to 24.
There's so many filler episodes.
It would have exactly like 24 they'd be in the middle of their story and then they'd just be like, all right, we need to fucking throw a cougar in here. And here's just two episodes in relation to a bomb shelter.
Well, there's someone's crack addicted cousin that broke into CTU.
It's exactly like that.
I imagine what would happen is like, the network would be like, all right, we're giving you have to make 22 episodes for every season or 22 episodes this season. And like your story arc only goes for like, 16. And then you have to
they were banking
fill
on
in the
9.
gaps.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Show's 4 seasons, so I heard it. The beginning and the end of the show, like season 1 and 4, are the strongest of it by far. So
you're motivating me to go back to it and actually finish it.
Well, it's on HBO. It's on HBO Max. So
okay, because I love the first 2 seasons. I thought they were good.
And Adam Brody is obsessed with comic books, and they're always talking about like the comic book movies from back in the day, like fucking Elektra, Spider-Man 2, Hellboy. They're talking about the same things that we were talking about in high school.
Heck yeah.
So that was my pick. But let's get to another HBO Max item, which was The Little Things, the Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, Jared Leto film. That was debuted in theaters and on HBO Max the end of January. Guys, what'd you think?
It's the little things, Murph.
It's all about the little things.
It's all about the little things, Jimmy.
It's the little things that matter.
Did anyone catch a count of how many times they say the little things in the movie?
I did start counting about maybe like a half hour into the movie, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's impressive for
halfway through.
Yeah, it's impressive for something that's not like a physical object for them to say the title so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Or like some sort of team or slogan or something like that. Like it's fucking weird that they just are always talking about the little things.
And it didn't make any sense either because it really didn't come into play at all.
It was
If we get a little into spoilers right now.
It was
Yeah,
more
let's get.
thematic.
Yeah, let's
We're-
just.
Yeah.
We're not recommending this movie.
Yeah, let's just
I
real
would
quickly
watch
just
it,
everyone say
honestly. I
like.
didn't think it was horrible, but
Yes,
it
I would
wasn't
agree with
great.
that. I wouldn't say don't watch it, but I wouldn't tell someone to watch it.
Yeah.
No,
It was just there.
it was
I
Yeah.
there.
don't know how they got all the talent they got from based on the script, because it's a movie where like
Very
there's
shallow.
no
Well, no,
grand
The
fucking
little things didn't come into
conclusion.
play. They didn't catch him, nor did they ever get caught, nor did they ever had to do anything with the little things.
I feel like the little
There
things
was no
is-
detective work.
I feel like the little things is more of it's in a way of a MacGuffin for that entire movie. Like except that it doesn't end with, with an overall resolution to that
Anything.
Little things.
to anything really. But it was like a carrot on a stick. It really
Oh.
was. They kept like poking you with it, like thematically. It was a thematic device.
I guess. I don't know. This normally like when a movie comes out, there's at least like something where I'm like, yeah, like the story wasn't great, but like cinematography was really good, or like the music was really good. This movie it just like I can't think of anything that stood out to me.
Jared Leto.
In a good way.
Leto and
Jared
Jared
Leto's
Leto,
the
yeah.
closest thing to that.
Jared Leto was very, very, very strong. I think in every scene that he was in.
He does such a good job at playing an off-putting human being.
That's what he's good at.
Yeah. And I thought Denzel was good for he kind of played two characters, because in the beginning of the movie he kind of seemed a little dopey and dumb,
Mm-hmm.
and then about halfway through he kind of stops that, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's a
he
little
just-
bit more shrewd than you expected.
Yeah.
He-
And Rami Malek, I don't fucking get Rami Malek. I don't get him.
He was his character. His character was unnecessary in that movie.
I just don't get
It
him.
was
as an actor.
unnecessary.
Kind of also seemed like miscast. He doesn't like hot shot like detective isn't Rami Malek.
Well,
Yeah, he should have been fucking Jared Leto, and Jared Leto should have been Rami Malek.
He's so
That would've
frightening
worked.
looking.
I said this during the movie out loud, and I'm like, this character that Rami Malek is playing is supposed to be this imposing detective, and Rami Malek is not an imposing actor. Like
Not really
he's not.
imposing, but just like the good, sharp, up and coming. He's Brad Pitt in Seven, essentially, but he's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
He
but he's
just
not Brad Pitt. He's Rami Malek.
He's not Brad Pitt. He's fucking Rami Malek.
the only scene that I didn't like with Denzel was when they were interrogating Jared Leto, and
When he
comes in
touched his
and
boner?
he snaps and like
Yeah,
Denzel-
what was that about?
Denzel snaps.
He-
That was like
He had a
really.
boner because
It was like really uncharacteristic. Like I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like you're interrogating this guy. Like you've seemed like you've been in this situation before. Why are you blowing your load basically and like almost beating the shit out of this criminal person?
There were two movies that I got. The movie that I expected, which was Prisoners and Denzel Washington going man on fire and just murdering the very clearly guilty guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then this movie, which was just like a wild goose chase that ends really prematurely when Rami Malek hits him in the head with a shovel for fucking no reason.
That was
There are so
I
many
didn't really-
tense scenes in this movie that shouldn't have been tense. Like my wife walked in when Denzel was having breakfast with Rami Malek's kids, and she said, "Why the fuck is this scene so intense?" And I said, "You know what? I honestly have no idea."
I was like, why is this kid kissing Denzel? They just met.
I
It
also
was like his wife's staring at
Yeah, the
Denzel,
wife
he's staring at
It's so
Denzel,
creeped out.
Denzel's staring at the kids, and it's just like they're having breakfast and they're gonna go do cop things.
I think that the script, like they obviously got in Denzel, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto, early on, and I just think that the script wasn't that strong, and they didn't really have a lot to work with, and it shows. It just shows.
you-
Well,
Like
wasn't the script written in the 90s?
He was
exactly
30 years old.
Yeah.
So where did they get him locked in like
They got-
Well,
1996?
that's what I'm wondering. Like,
They got Rami Malek in when he was fucking 10.
it
They
seems
get
like
his
they were.
parents to sign something. They're gotcha, bitch.
It seems like they were
You're gonna be in my
grasping at
movie.
straws. They were trying to make magic happen because they're all great actors, but they just couldn't they couldn't really either they couldn't or they weren't allowed, to really improv at all. I don't know. But it was awkward. It was awkward at times, which was weird.
Here's what I think happened. I think Denzel was friends with somebody who was working on the movie, agreed to be in it, and then once they said they had Denzel on board, they were able to sign up like Leto and Malek.
Oh, I think Leto just heard you get to play an off-putting, greasy human being.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm already there.
Yeah.
So.
We promise you, you'll have a boner in this movie.
He's like,
I'm
I
in.
have a boner right now. So where do I sign?
That's his MO. Like he's just so good at playing those creepy characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for
the Joker. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully-
seriously.
We'll see. Maybe he'll get his second shot.
You could have painted him white and put a red smile on him in this movie and painted his hair green. Fantastic Joker. Absolutely fantastic Joker.
Wasn't his fault.
Where the fuck was that?
Wasn't his fault.
Yes, it was. It was 100% his fault. He's the one that decided to go honka honka.
Oh, fuck. Well, we'll get to Suicide Squad more in this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of us we're not saying don't watch it, but we're not saying watch it.
You know what I liked?
It's the little things.
It was set in the 90s. They had beepers. They didn't have cell phones. At least it was period accurate.
Yeah, if they had cell phones, so much of the movie wouldn't even be able to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
one thing, because we're in spoiler territory at this point.
We've been in it for,
I know.
for a while now.
I know. But the one thing that was just like so awkward to me, that one scene where it revealed that he killed the third victim, Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is a weird way to reveal this. Like, it just revealed everything, like, the last, 15 minutes of the movie, or 20 minutes of the movie. It was just
I think that
strange.
was the only compelling story arc in the entire movie, but yeah, they inserted it in such a weird spot.
It made sense for the story, but where they actually revealed it, I was, sitting there like, what? This is so weird.
Well, they revealed it because that's him doing something bad and Rami Malek doing something bad. And
it was really weird. Really weird.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, but I thought it was very strange how they did that.
Yes, yeah, Julia, I missed the where it said that it was in the 90s, and we were pretty deep into the movie, and Julia was like, why are there all these old cars driving around?
I mean,
I was like, we're in the 90s. I guess without the 90s music blasting everywhere,
you would have
she wasn't able to tell.
You would have had to have caught it in the first a couple minutes of the movie where it splashes on the screen.
It sprinkles in there was the beeper and stuff.
Yeah, the beeper and payphones and
I think there was a dare sign.
Yep.
Yeah, there was.
A dare sign. Denzel was in it.
It's the little things.
Yeah. Strong performances, but the screenplay was definitely lacking.
All right. Well, I got nothing else to say about this one.
Yeah, I feel like we've given this movie enough fucking oxygen.
It's the little things.
It's the little things, Doug.
Let's move on.
Someone asked you what you think about this movie. It's the little thing.
That's all that we got out of this film.
Little things, Jimmy. If your name's Jimmy, watch the little things. Little things, Jimmy.
All right, WandaVision. Episodes 4 and 5. Let's talk about it. They were pretty eventful. More so episode 5. Episode 4 was the one where you're basically just getting the outsider's perspective of what's going on in Westview. Monica Rambeau, you're seeing her life both before the show takes place, how she got involved with the whole Westview deal with the FBI and whatnot. And then episode...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, talk, please.
I was just gonna say we got to see one of the first, outside of a very quick scene in Spider-Man Far From Home, we got to see somebody come back from being snapped away, and what that's like, which I thought was probably my favorite part of that episode 4.
I-
I
Yeah,
agree.
I thought that was an awesome inverse of the beginning of Avengers Endgame with Hawkeye and his family disappearing.
Yep.
You're getting
Yeah.
that like horror type of experience from returning.
Yep.
And yeah, that was fantastic.
And just
it'll be
like
cool. Hopefully, we get some more kind of post snaps throughout Phase 4 and dealing with like how much it would fuck up the world when 50% of the population just returns out of nowhere. Because
God.
Spider-Man, being Spider-Man, dealt with it very jokingly, which was funny. But it really would be like a nightmare if this was to happen.
Can you imagine using a public bathroom and then someone snaps into the same urinal as you? And that would be terrifying. You buy a nice house, sleeping in bed, someone snaps into bed right next to you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
thank you.
it creates like weird legal issues too, because like you bought the house, but like when people snap back, like who really owns that house?
Yeah.
Well, because the people are snapping back. What, 3 years later, 2.5 years later,
5 years later.
5 years
5
later.
years later. Okay.
It's a lot of
What kind
time.
of law do you
Yeah.
practice? I practice snap law.
Yeah.
People probably were like got remarried, had kids, and then boom, their fucking spouse comes back up. It's like
Yeah.
what? It's like fucking Castaway, but with snaps instead of
Yeah.
Wilson.
It's crazy. It like the actual real world ramifications. I mean, 5 years was enough time for Monica's mother to go through remission, to get cancer again, to die. Like 5 years is a lot can happen in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
But you go.
the one thing that I picked out in that episode, I think it was episode 4, was when Monica, it seems like she has like some type of grudge against Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Like, I don't know if it's just because she left and probably never came, or at least never came back to her. But there's some like plot thread there that is very interesting, for why she's just like so incredibly angry at her. So I'm interested to see, like, I mean, they're definitely gonna mention it and like go into.
We might have to wait till Captain Marvel 2 for that.
Yeah,
we know
but
we know she's in that movie.
Yeah, but I think that was really interesting to me because I wasn't expecting her to. When they mentioned Captain Marvel, she was very quick to, I don't want to talk about her.
Yeah.
So they're like, it just seems like they're slowly like expanding the universe, which is cool. Like these characters and like who they affect, and just the overall story going forward.
Yeah,
which is
episode
really
4
awesome.
episode 4 really brought in a lot of like making it more a part of the entire MCU as a whole. Like bringing back Kat Dennings as Darcy, who you haven't seen since Thor: The Dark World. Having Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah.
From Ant-Man and the Wasp, Randall Park.
With the card trick coming back from
Yep,
Ant-Man.
yeah, alluding, that whole callback to Paul Rudd and the card trick. But it was a very different episode than the first 3, where they were just clear homages to old TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
You only had so much of it focus on Wanda and Vision. The ending was pretty fucking spectacular, though, where you see the entire you see what you did not see from the previous episode, with Monica getting tossed out of Wanda's house. And by getting tossed out, I mean sent through like fucking a lot of layers of buildings and shit like that, all the way through the force field or whatever you want to call it. But what did you think? Had any other thoughts about that episode in particular? I mean, it was really more of just a, hey, this is what was going on. Any questions you may have had about these particular thing, each weird event from the previous 3 episodes are answered.
I thought it was a little I really didn't like this episode. it really turned me off from like being that high from the third episode. And the snap scene was great. The ending was pretty cool. I thought everything in the middle was crap. There was like 3 scenes that were exactly the same, where it was one person that was like the smart aleck know-it-all, and then the one person that was completely wrong. And it's just like it was the same dynamic between 3 different characters, between Monica Rambeau and her former boss, and then between Monica Rambeau and Jimmy Woo, and then between Kat Dennings and pretty much fucking anyone else that would talk to her. She was just like, no, you're actually wrong. And then here's like all sorts of made up words and shit. And it just felt like I was watching some horrible TV show that I wanted to change the channel. And every time they flash back to it, it's just like bad acting, and I hate it. I absolutely hated it. I thought it was a little ham-fisted, just giving an entire episode just to be like showing everything outside. And even in episode 5, I don't like when they flash back to it. I know to a degree it's necessary, but it's just like, to me, a huge drop off in quality.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Episode 5? Maybe what,
She
50,
shoots the pants.
50-50 inside Westview, outside of Westview? Or
It was a little more
60-40?
inside, I think. Yeah. And so, like, when Elizabeth Olsen comes out of Westview and
Awesome.
brings all the good acting with her, it's great. And then it goes back, and all the good acting goes away, and it goes back in the bubble. I don't know. I think I'm the only one that actually feels this adamant about how, like, episode 4, but
I mean, I've said to you guys, and it kind of goes into what we were talking about with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that the production seemed off when they were in episode 4, especially when they were outside of Westview. I just thought, minus the beginning,
yeah,
that scene, it looked like they put all their money into that awesome
the snap scene.
But yeah, there just does seem something off. The acting isn't that great outside of it, and
It's not written well.
Yeah, there's something off.
I mean, you also have Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen just like crushing it. So it's like kind of, you go from that to like
All the good
them.
materials going to them, and all the good
Yeah.
acting is them.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the plot progression is going to happen inside of Westview with, whatever's going on there. I think they're really Kat Dennings and what's his name are there for Randall Park are there for more comedic relief at this point, and also kind of just grounding the story. Because
I don't think they grounded anything, though. I thought they were like fucking cartoon characters.
I thought that they grounded the story to an extent where it was planting seeds for what's to come.
They also are sitcom. Both of them are sitcom actors.
Yeah, and they acted exactly like that. Their performances were not stellar, absolutely, but I think that they serve the purpose for everything that's happening in Westview is obviously going to have ramifications on the MCU as a whole. So I think like that's how they're going to be connecting everything. Hopefully, my guess is that everything will probably come out of the bubble at some point, probably sooner than later. But we'll see.
So what do you think of the whole Family Ties, TGIF type of homage in episode 5? Compared to what we got previously?
It wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty.
It was way more serious than previous ones.
Yeah,
because they were doing I think the episode was called A Very Special Episode. So they were doing one of those like major episodes. Yeah, exactly.
Family Ties had like that show had a lot of like that show was pretty dark in a lot of ways. Like they had a lot of like weird episodes. So a
lot of those shows in the 80s did like fucking Different Strokes and stuff. They would deal with very major issues, and they would always come across just so hammy because it's on a sitcom and you have laugh tracks or people laughing in a live audience.
I remember there being one arc where like someone in the family was like an alcoholic, and
Tom Hanks.
Oh, really?
That was Tom Hanks? in
Yeah.
Family Ties? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a guest.
So I mean, wow, I liked it. I liked it, but it definitely wasn't my favorite out of the previous episodes.
I like what they did with. So that's why I like the first 3 episodes better, because they threw little breadcrumbs in at you the whole time, and I like that better than just a fucking episode that explains the whole thing. Agnes having complete cognizance of what's going on when she asked her, do you want me to take that again? I thought that was really cool, and it's pretty obvious that she's trying to push the narrative in her own way. By the
Seems that
dog,
way,
she
yeah.
brings in the dog house. She's the one that finds the dog that was eating her azalea bushes that died. It's cool. It adds another little subplot of there's clearly something weird going on with her. And then the Evan Peters thing at the end was crazy, because that's another thing that's going to keep going on. And they have so much in this little bubble that they really don't need.
Yeah, let's talk about the Evan Peters of it all.
We got our first look at Mephisto, boys.
You're all about that Mephisto. Everyone
I
don't agree with that. I don't think Mephisto's in this at all.
All in on Mephisto.
I really hope that this
at
is
5 cents per share. he's trying to inflate it.
I mean, do you guys think? So my big question is, all right, so we've got Quicksilver now from the Fox X-Men universe showing up in the MCU. Is this going to be like some kitschy gag, or are we actually like? Is this how they open up X-Men?
He's either going to be playing Pietro, or he's going to be playing Mephisto or another character. He's not just going to be a gag. There's no way.
I think it's a very real opportunity for them to introduce X-Men into this universe,
which would be awesome.
It was kind of silly that we never even thought about the possibility that like Feige wouldn't kill the X-Men. Like he was involved in the original X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
So why would he want to just like erase it from history?
Yeah.
Well, because it's got a really sour taste, because the last 3 movies were fucking trash.
Yeah, but I mean, there's been trash MCU movies. You turn it around on a dime. Like you throw Taika Waititi into Thor, and suddenly, fucking, we're anticipating the hell out of Thor 4 when Thor 1 and 2 were like, meh.
Kind of don't want those X-Men to completely transfer over.
I think Evan Peters is the only one I want.
If that ends up being the case, I think it's going to be very much cherry picking. If that ends up being the case.
I mean, you could only use so many of them.
Yeah,
because...
I think it would be him and...
Please God, not Sophie Turner. Or whatever.
Probably not.
She's so bad.
What's her name?
The only other person I could think of is, and only for the Deadpool movie, is Hugh Jackman. That's it. Everyone else, I think, has kind of run their course. I don't think
even Hugh Jackman. It's like I kind of want to see Wolverine, and he's now like too old. I think.
Yeah,
it's like fucking. It's like 100.
And he's dead.
Playing that character for so goddamn long.
I think the Evan Peters, reveal. I think like it's definitely it has to be more than just, oh hey, I've played Quicksilver in another version of this character's universe.
I mean, it was also a nod to the sitcoms who'd recast.
Yeah, exactly. Which was brilliant. I love that. That Kat Dennings was like, oh my god, she recasted him. Like that was so good. That was so good. But
it was a nice little sting on the end of the episode there.
I mean, they have to start planting the seeds for who the big bad is for the next phase. So,
do they though? I mean,
yes,
it's not like they're going to reveal him in.
I don't think you're getting it. I don't think you're getting a big bad in phase 4. We didn't get a big bad in phase 1 or 2.
There has to
be
just
Thanos the one time.
I think this is just going to be a post Avengers Endgame type of
with what they're building
transitional phase.
For me, with what they're building, with like it seems like Spider-Verse and Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, like that is the big centerpiece for this phase. There has to be like a, you know, a big bad for that, like a multiverse type of enemy. And I think like that's why I think like Mephisto is probably gonna be.
Yeah, you are Mephisto crazy.
By Mephisto.
When it happens.
I mean, they could have sure they
I
could
like
have
the-
Mephisto, but who knows? They could fucking kill him in one movie, just
gonna
like they
kill him
do
in
with
one
all their
movie 'cause
villains.
They're
Marvel.
probably gonna kill him in one movie because that's what they do, Murph.
So then why is he the big bad? He's just a bad.
I just think
only
he's
two
going
things
to
they've
be
had-
the big bad. Which
The only two things they've had that they've built towards in this entire like 8 million movies they've had is Thanos and Civil War.
yes,
And Civil
And
War
Civil
was
War kind of came out of nowhere.
it kind of
So-
did come out of nowhere, but there was little bit in a couple different movies, I guess. But
the only thing that makes sense
They're not
with what's
known for
going on in
that.
WandaVision is that someone is pulling the strings.
or she's just
Someone.
really fucking sad and she's like going off the rails and doing her own thing and exploring the bounds of her powers.
Which I think is part of it because those are her powers. But
Frankly,
I
I
think
think
someone
it's way
is.
more interesting.
Yeah, I think it's cool because it's a study of her grief and it's a study of how far she'd go to really just get her old life back. And shit sucks, but she breaks into a thing and she creates this world where she can bang a robot for a while.
But her powers
It's lovely.
are there. Like someone is
They're back.
taking control of her powers. Is what I'm saying.
Maybe.
I think that's
I do like the idea of it being her too. And maybe like she doesn't realize that like she's just so grief stricken she doesn't realize that
Also,
she's like doing this to some extent.
Yeah.
also one last thing is
Is
that
it about Mephisto?
Mephisto.
So there's this guy.
If you watch,
Mephisto.
I've watched the last scene like 4 times already of that episode.
And it actually says, "Hi, my name is Mephisto" on his jacket.
Wanda does not. She doesn't. She's surprised with whoever's at the door, which ends up obviously being Evan Peters. But she's
Yeah, 'cause their
surprised.
brother's
Yeah.
dead.
That's not her. She controls everything that's going on in Westview. She did not control that. And then also, if you watch that episode and there's a glimpse where you see like a back shot of the mirror behind the front door, you see Evan Peters, and his hand is
Mephisto.
red.
Oh, it's Mephisto. Shit.
His
Shit.
hand is red.
Shit.
His left hand.
I read that and people were pausing and they were like, "His hand's not red."
It's there.
They were like, maybe there's like a shadow or something. I don't know.
Well,
People are going like
There's
too crazy
there's-
with the Mephisto thing.
there's 3 hands in that frame, but
Oh,
one
there's
is
3 hands in that.
But one
How many hands
one
does
is
Mephisto have?
One is Paul Bettany. One and
Okay. Well, his hand is actually red though.
no, it isn't. It's purple. It's like
I
a
mean,
dark purple.
red. It's
This
pretty
was
close,
it's
man.
red.
This was a
man.
Mephisto
This is a
red.
Mephisto hand. Has a little friendship bracelet on it that says Mephisto, and then Corey on the other side.
It's gonna
All
happen.
right,
Live,
well,
breathe Mephisto. Let's
We'll,
go.
we'll see if you're correct over the next 3 weeks. Or
Before
4
we move
weeks.
on, one other thing that I wanted to call out that was pretty awesome was the whole like when Vision like confronts Wanda,
Yeah, that was great.
and then Wanda tries to like roll the credits,
Yes.
and Vision's just like,
No,
"No, like we're getting to the bottom of this. Like
It's
we're
like-
not rolling the credits."
we're fighting. We're fighting right now.
Oh,
I
wait.
liked- I
Corey,
like the
you
what we do in the shadows when they both went like
Yeah.
floated in the air at each other.
Corey, you said the Evan Peters thing was the only thing she wasn't controlling?
From the only thing that I
Because the kids are aging up by their own accord, seemingly.
Yeah, they're doing it on their own, and she obviously doesn't like want them to.
She doesn't want them to grow
yeah
up.
So
I
she's losing control over it.
Is
yeah,
Mephisto
I mean,
aging them?
it's possible. Yeah, I mean,
I would say it's definitely possible that he's there and he's been wanting
Or
the whole time.
I don't.
Are we
think
sure the
that
kids
she's-
aren't Mephisto too?
Corey's gonna be right, but we're just gonna have so much fun busting his balls
I
about
just-
it.
there's-
It doesn't even matter.
There's so many things in that
Oh, shit,
in the
dude.
past like 5 episodes where
Confirmed. Look at that scene. I missed that part of the. I missed that part. Shit. Oof.
There's just
That's
so many
frightening.
things where it just doesn't seem like she's not controlling everything that's going on, which you would think that it would be. Like she created this, alternate version of Westview where she can have a perfect life, and there are things that are catching her off guard, little things
Maybe
throughout
it's
the
gone
episode.
beyond her
The
control.
little things.
The
It's
little,
the little
things.
things, Wanda.
People are thinking that the guy in the bee costume, the beehive costume, is Reed Richards. And
No,
But it was the
we
guy
already
that-
saw it was one of the
He was-
guys.
they're like, the theories are going all over the place, but I'm
They're-
sticking to
It was
Mephisto.
debunked already.
I'm sticking to Mephisto. Evan Peters playing him I think it would be great, because all I keep thinking of, and it's funny, all I keep thinking of is American Horror Story season 1 with him, and that performance is like
It's prime Mephisto.
It's literally perfect. Yes,
That was him auditioning for Mephisto.
Man.
So we'll
Yeah,
see.
the Beastkeeper suit guy was just the dude in the hazmat suit. The Richard, what is it? It's not Richard Reed, because that's a shoe bomber.
Reed Richards.
Reed Richards. That's the physicist they were talking about, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that was the
Probably.
theory about him?
Mr. Fantastic is Reed Richards.
What's the guy from Shark Tank? Mr. Wonderful. Yeah. I don't know. I
It
just
have
think
to be
I think
Reed
her
or
shit's-
Doctor Doom.
They're
Ooh,
planting so
Dr.
many. They're
Doom.
planting so many seeds. It seems. I think Sword is definitely going to be the precursor to whatever is going to be happening going forward. But what characters? I don't know. I mean, Fantastic Four would be cool.
I just think it's like horseshit little drops that they do in television shows, where it's like,
yeah.
I know a guy, don't worry, and then fucking you're like, oh, that could be so many different people, and then they never go back to it, because it's
People
just
were.
like there's a bigger universe out there. Yeah, I know this guy. His name's Doctor, and then just cuts off.
People were picking out pieces of like the pattern of the wallpaper in one of the episodes
people got no
in
lives.
Wanda's house, Wanda and Vision's house, where they were like, "Oh, look, it looks like a devil, Mephisto."
Are you sure that's not you doing that?
I wasn't doing that specifically.
Corey's
got
on
Mephisto
Reddit
on
all
the
the
brain.
time, starting fucking rumors.
All right,
I'm the
Mephisto
Wall Street
vision.
Wall Street
coming
Bets
soon.
version of Mephisto.
Jesus
Tune in on
Christ.
Friday for
Oh,
Mephisto
man.
Vision starring Wanda.
We'll see in a couple weeks, I guess, right?
Mephisto Vision.
What do you think?
Well,
this
that's our
week's,
show.
What do you think this week's episode is? Is it Full House?
Oh, I hope so. I didn't
Well,
even think about that.
Yeah, we're in
has
the
to be.
90s now.
It
I
has
don't
to
know.
be.
I think 2000s is Modern Family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
so
it would
I
it
don't know
has
what the
to
90s
be.
is.
it would be nice. We were watching that last episode, and we were just looking at Elizabeth Olsen. We're like, it's crazy to think that she's related to Mary Kate and Ashley.
That,
Like,
and
we're
she
looking at
ended
what they
up the
could have
famous.
been.
She's the famous one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like what the twins could have been.
I mean, the fucking twins are rich beyond
Super
their wildest
successful,
Of course,
dreams.
but they are
Um,
so fucked up.
Yeah, because they have like their
Yeah.
fashion thing going on.
fucking got the child actor problems.
Yep.
All right.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah, she did. Let's get into that feature presentation that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So we're talking bad, disappointing movies that had awesome trailers.
It's the little things, Jimmy.
Exactly. And fuck it, let's just start with the little things.
That's a good idea.
So we thought this movie was gonna be cool.
It looked awesome.
Yeah, the trailer was really good.
Fool
Yeah.
you.
It's basically like we got 3 great actors. We're doing a whole murder mystery. Fucking let's go. 1990s period setting.
There's gonna be revenge. I thought there was gonna be a revenge. I thought Denzel was wronged, and he was gonna go
Yeah.
get revenge.
They dealt with
Yeah,
that very
revenge.
quickly at the beginning, and he didn't get wrong. He killed someone.
Yeah, he was
That that girl got wronged.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's haunted by toe sucking ghosts and shit. We didn't bring that up actually.
Wait,
There was
what?
a ghost sucking his toes.
I
it was
When
like
did this
Ray
happen?
getting a blowjob.
Yeah, I thought it was like a hooker, but it was one of the
What?
ghosts sucking his
I
toes.
completely missed the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the ghosts show up.
and she was like down by his feet, and he was. Ugh, that was weird.
Yeah, it was like that scene in Ghostbusters.
Yes, it was. It
Where
very
he's
much
like-
was. I do my best thinking when I got ghosts sucking on my toes.
But yeah, man, outside of the first scene of the movie, which was actually pretty awesome,
Yeah,
and very Zodiac-like,
very Zodiac-like.
it just fucking
It
It
was a
fizzled out.
bland
It
90s.
fizzled out. for
it just
sure.
it was something you watch for 2 hours, and you're like, is it gonna pick up?
Nope.
Is this it? And
Nothing
it was it. It
happened.
doesn't pick up.
Nothing happened in that
I usually
hour and
love movies where
45-minute
nothing
movie.
happens.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, that's like your cup of tea.
Yeah, but the dialogue sucked, and Rami Malek was in it.
But yeah, that's the little things for you. I guess we'll go backwards. Just since we started with the little things. So next up is something that only came out a month ago. Wonder Woman 1984. And this is going to be the first of 3 superhero movies in our 3 DC movies in a row.
Yeah.
DCEU movies. But yeah, the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer really showed off how it was that 80s setting. Looked really
That
neat.
soundtrack.
The soundtrack was awesome. The colors really cool.
Looked like a lot of fun. Looked like it was gonna be super colorful.
Yeah. And then we got the Renouncing Your Wish, and just a weird, strange movie.
And really bad music. There's like no 80s music in it.
Yeah, and
It was
just
some orchestral soundtrack like half the time, probably over half the time, which made no sense.
such a big part of the trailer was just like showing Chris Pine's coming back, Steve Trevor, and just the way they did it was just strange.
Yeah.
Not the most satisfying. But
It didn't
again,
feel-
this movie didn't suck. It was just like the trailer made it look like it was going to be pretty damn awesome.
It didn't
I think
feel
it
like a
suffered from
sequel.
having such a good trailer.
Mm.
That trailer was fucking good.
It did not feel like a sequel. It felt like a standalone film in every way.
Yeah, it seems like I guess all these Wonder Woman movies are going to feel like standalones.
It kind of makes sense though if you think about it in terms of the first movie took place in like 1919 and the second movie takes place in 84.
What, so they're not dealing with the same problems that they were when fucking people weren't even flying?
I honestly
How do
think
you
a
how
lot
do you
of
tie
it,
that together? It's
I thi-
80 years. or
I think a lot
70
of
years,
it
60
was
years.
also they were
6 years of celibacy for Diana.
I think the studio was
She won't
trying
be
to
the same woman.
distance itself as much as possible from Justice
From
League,
quality movie.
from Justice League, Batman vs Superman. I think
Well,
like
they did that with Wonder Woman.
mm-mm,
Which
It
was
a completely
great.
different
Not re-
movie.
it was, but I think they were trying to just make it its own thing, and it failed.
Yeah, they went from a semi-gritty World War I movie to a like Richard Donner, Superman-inspired 80s Wonder Woman movie. Just strange.
Yeah.
But next up we've got Suicide Squad, not to be confused with The Suicide Squad. So
Which
this is
doesn't even have a trailer yet.
yeah, it has some sort. It had some production footage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we all remember. Well, I guess there were really 2 awesome trailers for Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The one at Comic-Con, which got leaked online, which was pretty dark, and had a completely different tone to the next one, which
Mm-hmm.
was completely reconfigured to be more like Guardians of the Galaxy in tone.
Yeah.
Yep.
When
It was
both
a fun
of
time.
those versions looked awesome.
Yeah.
Showed off the eclectic cast that they assembled for this film: Will Smith, Margot Robbie, et cetera, et cetera. The humor, awesome music. But then, yeah, the movie itself just was not good.
So
The
bad.
first half hour of the movie was good, and then it just
No.
No.
They were
Not at all.
dropping the real Slim Shady like 5 minutes in. They lost me at that point. Like, this
Yeah.
is the most unnecessary needle drop that I've ever heard in a movie.
You want to know what though? It kind of sounds like maybe the darker version was like what the Ayer cut was supposed to be.
I
Oh, are we
And then
probably
they
pushing the
saw-
Ayer cut now?
Yeah, but we're going back to release the Ayer cut, but the dark one was like probably what Ayer, and then Guardians came out and was a hit, and they were like, oh, we'll just make this like Guardians of the Galaxy. So they recut the trailer and recut the movie probably, and we just got the trash that is Suicide Squad.
I'm pretty confident that that's probably what happened. Because if
Which
you
is silly.
if you go back and watch both of those trailers, there's a very good argument, that, not to say that if they gave him, kind of like what Snyder, like a second chance to like, put his movie together, that it would be good, but you can see that the visions were different. Those, what was it, 10 months earlier, like from when we got that Comic-Con trailer to when we got that next trailer, it's very different.
It was like 6
Very,
months. It's like,
very,
yeah,
very different.
I think it was July 2015 and January 2016.
So I can see that argument being true.
It's pretty silly to see all this hubbub around an alternate cut of two movies from directors that have proven that they really don't make good movies.
No, they don't.
I know.
They don't.
It's so
but
weird.
They don't, but you have to. The one thing that keeps coming up is that it's the same studio. It's Warner Brothers. The same studio that keeps coming up with that they keep meddling. Same studio.
Well, they look
Every
like they
single
fixed
time.
it, because someone just asked James Gunn what they,
We'll
how
have to see.
the experience working with Warner Brothers, and he said they had some criticism, and I chose to take it or not take it, and they didn't
But
seem to give a
that's-
shit either way.
But that's James Gunn. It's different than
Yeah, but I mean,
David Ayers.
if you have a shitty director working on your movie, aren't you gonna meddle a little bit? You'd be like, David, why does everyone have tattoos on their face? He's like, because I love this LA look and everyone's a gangster. And like, no, we're not.
James
do
Gunn
that.
also came into play after they got shit on by, everyone saying that they were meddling. So they decided to bring him on and not meddle.
I don't think the remedy is make a Snyder cut or make an Ayer cut.
No, I don't think so
Stop
either.
fucking meddling and stop hiring terrible directors.
I think if he got a chance to make his version of Suicide Squad, it wouldn't be that much better. I'm just saying that.
Well, he
probably
did,
would
and
be
maybe
different.
we'll one day see it.
It would be different.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Corey's
basically,
trying to say is release the Ayer cut.
release
exactly.
it.
Hashtag release the Ayer
I
cut.
honestly don't really want to see that. I'm good.
I don't know. You sound
I
like
do want to see it.
I wouldn't.
I just
mind.
want to know.
I think I'm good with the Snyder cut and just kind of move on and give us Pattinson's Batman. I'm kind of good with just that.
Gimme.
Yeah.
I think there has to be some credit to the Ayer cut being very dark, because Suicide Squad, you would think, and it's sort of being proven with the James Gunn movie, would make a great, fun, stupid Guardians of the Galaxy type movie. Like, that's where the property lends itself to being. And the fact that they couldn't make that out of whatever they shot really must mean that there was some really fucked up dark shit that they had filmed, one would think. I would imagine they hired a professional to cut the abomination that they put out in theaters, but I mean, maybe it was someone's kid that did it, That movie was fucking terrible.
Yeah, but
It's
lesson
not good.
learned: don't mislead people with a trailer that's not indicative of the final film.
Yep.
It is grounds for disappointment.
Yeah.
Next up, Batman vs Superman. JP, you're the biggest fan of this trailer.
Super hyped for that. I watched that a lot because it was everything I wanted to see. It was Batman in the big armored
And
suit.
everything that you didn't see.
What do you mean? I saw them fight. That's all that matters.
They
It's a 17-hour movie, but
they
fought.
totally V'd in that film.
They did totally feed. And there's definitely some dawning of justice, even though I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Dawn of Eisenberg.
I mean, they definitely could have just released the Batman versus Superman fight, and I would have been happy, and I wouldn't have had to watch the movie. But whatever. I like seeing Ben Affleck as Batman. It made me happy. And Henry Cavill is really boring.
Doug, you threw this on the list.
Yeah. I also really liked the scene like Superman, Batman fighting. I don't know. Is this a trailer where
It's whatever
Batman's
trailer
like,
you want it to be. You added
okay.
it.
Wasn't there one where he like you hear Batman ask Superman like, "Do you bleed?" or like that whole exchange is in there, which is like a really cool exchange.
Exactly
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, just like
Now,
that.
Do we have Christian Bale in here?
And then like JP said, it's just like, yeah, they didn't lie. I mean, that's in the movie. It wasn't like the Godzilla '98 where it's just another scene. Thank God, because that's the only redeeming part of the friggin' movie. The rest of it's just
And the warehouse scene. That was
warehouse
freaking
scene's
awesome.
cool. Yeah, warehouse scene's
Yeah,
really
that was
cool.
my favorite.
Yeah.
But you got to sit through like 2 hours of nonsense to get to each of those scenes, and it's like, I'm with.
This is a Supreme Court hearing.
I think, yeah, that's great. I think JP and I are on the same page with this movie. Just give us the fight, give us the warehouse scene, and like, that's all we want.
It's the only reason I don't hate this movie that much is because they gave me what I wanted. I had to wade through a ton of bullshit for it, but
Did they though? The fight was disappointing.
no, the fight was awesome. The fight was super cool until the end, where he
Martha.
starts screaming Martha. But then
Martha.
they make up for it by having him burst through the floor and beat the shit out of a bunch of goons.
I don't think that.
And then
Yeah,
he lights
I
a
mean-
man on fire and they get back out of it again.
With this one, you kind of liked his more footage, or liked footage that was closer in length to the trailer than the fucking mega long movie that we actually got.
I would have liked to known that there was a court hearing in it.
Yeah, the pacing
that went on at length.
The pacing of that movie was all over.
It's horrible.
The place. It was,
Yeah, it was
all
really
over the place.
bad.
I actually want to revisit the movie just to see like what he was actually thinking with the pacing of that movie, because I remember it being nonsensical.
And then you've
Yeah,
got
it
the
was-
worst Lex Luthor performance I've ever seen from
God.
fucking Jesse Eisenberg.
Let me bring
Lex
that up.
Luthor is the worst villain on earth, so
No, Dustin Hoffman's Lex Luthor is fantastic.
see? Even the
Dustin
Lex
Hoffman
Luthor's
didn't even
decent.
play Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
Or
like he got him confused with Rain Man because Superman's in that as well.
Gene Hackman,
You
Gene
mean Gene
Hackman. There you go.
popular 70s.
I don't
actor.
think Gene Hackman was a good Lex
I think
Luthor
Kevin
either.
Spacey was the best one.
Kevin Spacey was
He was
good.
goofy. He was like a real estate guy.
Lex Luthor
He's
is
always a real
he
estate
is
guy,
goofy.
though.
That's who
literally
he is.
his only superpower.
His
That is-
plan was so bad.
that
We're
is
making
the
the world
character.
really shitty, and then people are gonna have to buy fucking property on it.
That
But
is
doesn't
the
he do that in
character.
like Superman 2 or 3 as well? He like launches a nuclear missile somewhere thinking someone's gonna buy something afterwards. Such a shitty villain.
That's
And Superman can't
Three?
even fight him because he would just pip him and he would just fucking explode.
The best Lex Luthor is Giancarlo Esposito on Harley Quinn.
Oh, I've never seen that. I think the animated
not there
series,
yet.
the Superman animated series Lex Luthor was pretty cool too, I think.
I
He
like
put
the Superman animated
He put the
series.
suit on and he
He's probably better. He probably gets
More.
more to do.
I mean,
But-
Lex
Yeah,
Luthor
it
is
is.
not. He's not like a Joker level supervillain. Like he just never is. He never is. He
But he
never
should be. He's-
was.
Superman's biggest enemy. And that's why Superman sucks.
That's why Superman.
Fuck
and-
you,
Batman v
Superman.
shitty
It's
Superman.
why. It's why Superman and
Dawn
Wonder
of shit.
Woman. Why they haven't been able to nail them for the modern age yet.
Corey loves his takedowns of Wonder Woman. He'll get him whenever he can.
Wonder Woman's good.
And Superman.
Can be better.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Make.
All the
Do
marketing
better.
for Batman was just so good. Batman v Superman. The Comic-Con, I remember seeing the Comic-Con thing where he turns on the bat signal and Superman's in it.
Yeah.
And I nearly pissed my pants when I saw that. And yeah. I just wish they would have been a little more upfront about the movie we were about to watch.
The trailer's just like the court hearing, like 1 second of Batman fighting Superman.
It's a terribly paced trailer.
I feel like there was a trailer where a lot of it was that court hearing.
It's just
remember.
fucking Jesse Eisenberg stammering and
And Hallelujah playing, and then it's a
Yeah.
really fast forwarded version of them fighting, and then it ends.
Hey, don't make fun of Watchmen.
It sucks.
he's
Watchmen's
also
bad.
making fun of the latest Justice League trailer.
Yes,
I
and
know.
everything that Zack Snyder does. But yes, Watchmen is bad.
I love Watchmen.
I love Watchmen, the TV show.
Agreed.
All right, let's circle back to the big green fucking lizard from Japan and how
Starring Bryan Cranston.
he
as the
never-
main
he
as
does
the main
better-
antagonist.
and how the lizard does better trailers than it does full-length films. We're in 2014 now with, yes, as JP said, Bryan Cranston, where he got about as much screen time in the trailer as he did in the film.
At least they were accurate about that.
Yeah, except you think he's gonna be in more because he's Bryan fucking Cranston.
But Murph, was he in any other scene of the trailer? No.
That's true. He's not
Should've
in.
done your
yeah,
homework.
I should have realized it. But yeah, instead we get fucking Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh wow.
We get
Yeah,
the Maximoff twins or siblings.
But they're like
Stars
have
of
a
the film.
relationship together, right?
Yeah, they're
Ooh.
a
feel
couple,
like-
and I don't think they share one scene together.
Didn't it come
Was
out
that
the same year?
before?
I feel
It was
like
a year
came out the same-
before Ultron. A year before Ultron.
So someone watched them be a couple in a movie and was like, you know what they would do? They would make great siblings.
They didn't really have much chemistry as a couple, so let's make them siblings.
Whoever did that, you're a sick fuck.
But yeah,
What
I
weird
mean,
casting.
this movie or the trailer had a really cool atmosphere to it. I don't know if you guys remember, but it had the people like parachuting down. Had a lot of like red smoke and everything like that. And then you realize they're parachuting next to Godzilla. Little did we know that the brief amounts of Godzilla that you see in the trailer is very similar to how they don't really show a full shot of Godzilla much at all in the film. He's usually in the shadows or behind buildings, and fucking similar to 1998. I don't know why
It's
didn't
like
they learn anything?
We got to cut the budget to this film. What can we lose? Well, we can not show Godzilla a whole lot. Bryan Cranston can have 4 lines and then die. And I think
Alright.
And
we're
then
good.
we'll
Alright,
let
let's
Kick
go with
Ass
that.
and Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen's sister run the show.
Yeah.
I literally went to see this movie because I was like excited to see Bryan Cranston in this role.
This was at like the height of Bryan Cranston too, right? This was
Yeah,
shortly
it was
after
Breaking
Breaking
Bad.
and
Only like it was less than a year after Breaking Bad ended.
Am I the only
Good
one that
lord.
still has not seen this movie?
Probably it seems like
among
it.
us, yeah. I mean, in the world, no, but
No.
Out of the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I mean, they finally got it right at least with the follow up where it
I still
showed
haven't seen that
Godzilla
one.
a lot, and gave people what they wanted, which was just fucking clear monster fights and shit.
Is it actually good?
Better than
The
the other
second
two,
one?
but
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't watch it again.
I'm gonna have to see it before
But you liked
before
Kong.
the monkey fights him.
Kong
Yeah,
was
Kong
good.
Skull Island was awesome. That was just a fun movie. It
Yeah,
had
watch
good
that too.
human. It had interesting, fun human characters
Hmm.
and awesome fights with the monsters on Skull Island. And Kong, I think Kong is just a more empathetic character, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. Makes
Oh, it's
sense.
because he can like emote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'Cause he's a monkey.
Godzilla's just fucking shooting fire and stomping around like a
Kong
yeah.
also, they're bringing back the human counterpart character that he had in the original film.
Ah, yes, the
little
6-year-old girl.
In the original film, it was like
That won't be
an
annoying.
adult,
Really?
right? Like it was an adult woman
Yeah, it was
that
like a-
Yeah.
right.
A movie star or something.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
it's a
so-
6-year-old girl.
I mean,
Well-
that it's timeless. It's a timeless. thing.
Godzilla's bringing back Millie Bobby Brown,
Oh boy!
his buddy from King of the Monsters.
Hey kids, it's Stranger Things. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Maybe that's why I didn't watch the second movie because I didn't give a fuck. I don't want to see Millie Bobby Brown in anything anymore. It's Stranger
Well, it was a lot more Coach Taylor than 11.
fucking Coach, isn't? Oh,
Yeah, Coach is the star of the movie.
He's in that movie.
Yeah, and he's in the new one too.
I might have to watch that one like tonight.
It's on it's on HBO Max.
Coach.
All right, next up we've got Prometheus. The one trailer that JP tried to not watch at all
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck
prior
possessed me
to the
be like,
release of the movie.
I have
It was
nothing negative to
it
say
was
about
like your
this movie.
goal that you wanted to go in so unspoiled.
I
love
don't
this
even like
movie.
alien movies.
I love this movie.
I love the trailer. It dropped on Christmas Day, like I guess the first teaser one, and it was phenomenal. Movie itself, okay.
It's
Had-
more than okay. It's
Had a one really cool scene, the like C-section scene.
Oh god, yeah, that
was pretty crazy.
That's
That was a
insane.
very tense scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, JP, I remember you like closing your eyes and like
Yeah, I would
if it was on in the
plug my
in
ears, close
theaters.
my eyes. I'd never done that with a movie before, and I don't know why I decided that Prometheus was going to be that one. But I mean, I was in the mood, and that was going to come out. So, you know.
Maybe you heard it. We were just so hyped based on the trailer. You're like, I don't want to be
Probably.
disappointed.
Yeah.
And regardless, you're disappointed.
I've gone the complete opposite as of late too. I spoil everything before I go see movies, and I think it's working out better, honestly.
You like to know what you're getting into.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, Prometheus. What's the black goo? Don't know.
We have to wait till Prometheus 3 to find out.
There was a second one?
Yeah, Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that movie at all.
It was there.
Yeah, it
I don't
didn't
even
really.
I don't remember if it was any better or worse than Prometheus.
Yeah, I feel like it was at
It was
least
worse, I want to say.
I think it was at least as good as Prometheus. They were both okay. They weren't great.
It had
If you have a thin spaceship and it's falling at you thin ways and you're running directly away from it, you're
You
dumb.
just keep running in a straight line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just run to the left or the right.
Alien Covenant had two Michael Fassbenders,
Oh
and
my god, really?
Yeah.
and one
Yeah.
and one of them wanted.
Did they bring another David with them?
Yeah, he's like, I want to.
Yeah.
God.
There were two Davids.
They're fucking like fiddling together.
One was a murderous one. It was
The
a
murderous
murderous
ones from the
David.
beginning. Why was David so evil?
Oh, he's
It
so
made no
evil.
sense.
He's more evil than the fucking alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Like
the
the
Alien
androids are
movies
just
basically
evil.
are. Yeah, the humans
Because
are
of
worse
David.
than the aliens in the Alien movies.
David's the
Bill
reason
Paxton's
why
a
the
goddamn
aliens happen.
saint.
Like the corporation just always sends these people to die.
Yeah.
That's true.
You want what I
And
realized?
puts androids on ships that are designed to like kill you if necessary.
Smart.
What was it? Aliens 3, the one with the Marines and like Rodriguez.
That was 2, wasn't it?
And,
Those two?
With Bill Paxton.
The James Cameron
yeah,
one.
Yeah, no,
There's
that's
two.
two.
Yeah.
That's two.
Do you know who I'm talking about though? Like I think her name's Rodriguez.
Yeah,
The
the
girl.
She's
one,
like the,
Yeah, she had the
one with
bandana on.
headband. Yeah.
not Hispanic. That actress.
Huh.
She's the stepmom in Terminator 2.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Really?
And she's like an
Yeah.
Irish. I think she's like an Irish passenger in Titanic.
Maybe she was married to someone named Rodriguez.
She's the one who's in like lower, in like the lower class deck
Oh,
in
she the one with
Titanic
the
with the
kid?
kids. Yeah. So Cameron loves
They very.
killing her on film. Literally, she's over 3 when it comes to living.
Oh, that's terrible.
She's very Hispanic in that movie, but
She
not
is.
in real life.
Vasquez, that's her name in it.
Mhm.
Vasquez, you're right.
That's odd.
Just want to point that out.
That's a
And
strange
since-
little tidbit.
But yeah, since we're talking about James Cameron, let's talk about Terminator Salvation, aka the movie where Christian Bale had a fucking meltdown on set, and that was more memorable than the film itself, and even
Yeah.
more memorable than the trailer.
I don't really remember anything about this movie. This was it.
Was
I
Arnold
remember.
in this one?
No.
Yeah.
It had a
Yeah, right.
body. It had a body double like for him, and I guess a little bit of
This wasn't the one where he had a
facial
southern
stuff
accent?
on him. No, that was 3, 4, 5. I don't know.
This movie was like 10 hours long. It had an
I
intermission.
think it was like 90 minutes.
That's how
just
it
felt long.
literally felt. It felt so fucking long.
It was a
And-
McG joint.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
yeah.
Remember
But
when
yeah.
Sam Worthington was going to be a good actor?
Yeah,
Everyone was on that.
Was
on
this
that
was this
train?
before or after Avatar?
It
for
was
Doug?
it was before Avatar.
Before, yeah.
So this is
But
the
they're like James Cameron's putting this guy in his new movie. We're gonna put him in the Terminator movie to get more credibility. Like
He's just,
like we have a connection with James Cameron,
just not a good actor.
Is
and we're gonna
Sam
have
Worth-
Christian Bale as John Connor, and he's fucking Batman right now. Dark Knight just came out. This should be so cool.
Terry Crews was in this movie.
What?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And no
What-
Sergeant Jeffords was in it.
Is Sam Worthington in Avatar 2?
Yeah, he's in Avatar 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
and 5.
he's
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's chained to wherever the fuck they're filming. I'm pretty sure.
That's where he's been this whole
I'm
time.
sure
is
Cameron
he-
has a cage that he carries him around in.
He's
I
been
haven't
locked
s-
in a fucking New Zealand sound stage for the last 10 years.
I haven't
He's living
seen
in a
him-
hobbit hole. So
He either does, and he gets to leave every once in a blue moon to do a direct-to-DVD movie.
I haven't seen him in anything in like 10 years. I guess that's why.
Yeah,
he's a terrible
Yeah,
actor.
that's where he is.
He's not a good actor.
All right.
Dude.
Well,
Anton Yelich was in that movie too. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
That guy was fucking great.
Are you who?
Anton Yelich.
Oh, yes. He was the
Oh,
best part of it.
yeah.
His Kyle Reese was actually good.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
him as Kyle Reese. Yeah.
He was a fantastic
It-
actor.
And
The
I think, did Bryce Dallas Howard play Catherine Brewster?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Catherine Brewster.
Brewster.
Yes.
Since
no,
they
she
were
played-
following the continuity of...
She played Kate
Ray.
Connor. I don't know who.
Okay, because,
that is.
yeah, she was formerly Catherine Brewster, and then
Catherine Brewster.
she took his name and shortened the Catherine to Kate.
It's
Oh,
amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
It's amazing how that continuity has changed over the years. How they've attempted to redo shit.
Yeah, but I mean, that trailer, though, like, showing, like, you're finally in the future,
Mm-hmm.
like, post-Judgment Day. It looked so cool.
You
Had
got
good
Christian
soundtrack. I think
Bale.
it had 9 Inch Nails in the soundtrack for the trailer. And then, yeah, it just... Remember, we all saw it at midnight, and it just was not that good.
It was not good.
But yeah, that's it. That is the films that we selected. All relatively recent ones. From the past 12 years.
Yeah, it's because old movies, the trailer spoiled the entire movie, so you knew what you were getting into.
Exactly.
pretty much.
They just repeat the name of the film fucking 50 times over.
National Lampoon's Senior Trip.
Yeah, like we didn't get like really cool trailers until fairly recently.
Yeah.
Now they have like expert marketers cutting them up, designed to make sure that every little fucking still in it is consumer friendly.
I would be interested to see if we could do like great movies that had fucking terrible trailers.
Great movies out of terrible. Yeah, probably could do that.
I can only think of one off the top of my head.
What is
but
it?
Not Wanted. Sorry, Kingsman. Because every time I saw that trailer, I thought it was a shitty like.
Yeah, I had no desire to
Young
see it from
adult.
the trailer.
Yeah,
that
and then
movie came
I
out of
saw the movie
nowhere.
and it was awesome.
Yeah, that definitely came out of nowhere, for sure.
All right. Well, maybe we can think of some more.
Maybe one day.
Doug, you were gonna say something. What was it?
No, I was basically gonna say the same thing. I was
Yeah.
like, we'll just have to kind of brainstorm and come back with that topic.
Well, you heard it twice. We will do that. But yeah, that's all we've got for today. Thanks again for listening. A reminder that our yearly film series is now exclusive to YouTube, with the exception of those watching live on Twitch. We did have some people on Twitch commenting today, so that's fun. But after we record our full-length episodes on Monday evenings, we do record the yearly film series, so you can hear both of them live. But yeah, make sure to follow on Twitch, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch our yearly film series. Today we'll be covering 2001. But as always, this has been Corey, Doug, JP, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.